Good afternoon. I'm Alex Maragos. We have some breaking news in Chicago's Albany Park neighborhood on the northwest side. Multiple people have been shot here. Let's go up live to Mike Lorber, who's in Sky 5 over the scene. Mike, what do you know so far?
Alex, the Chicago Fire Department has just confirmed to NBC, as you said, that multiple people have been shot, including a Chicago Police Department SWAT officer here at a SWAT scene in the city's northwest side, 4640 north on Springfield. About an hour and a half ago, they called a SWAT scene and had a lot of officers respond to this scene. They said a heavily armed person was inside of a building at 4640 north on Springfield. Then about 45 minutes ago, the dispatch of a CPD 10-1, that is the code for an officer in distress, was called, followed by an officer shot. Officer shot. A lot of police officers heading to the scene. Again, all this information off the Chicago Police Department dispatch. After that, there was an escort of an ambulance to Illinois Masonic Hospital. The officer was taken there. That officer just arrived on the scene about 10 minutes ago. We do not have any information right now on the condition of the officer who was shot. We also do not have information yet on how many other people were shot in their conditions as well. You can see this large presence here of the Chicago Police Department. We are at Springfield. We're a couple blocks south of Wilson here, 4600 North. That's where they are staging. We are also unsure whether or not this is still an active SWAT scene or it has been cleared from the SWAT scene. So a lot to take in here, a very, very large police presence, not only here, but outside of Illinois Masonic Hospital. Again, according to the Chicago Police Department dispatch, the officer was taken in an ambulance with a police escort and arriving about 15 minutes ago. We've seen police officers move in and out of the scene here. They appear to be in a static setup right now at Springfield, a couple blocks south of Wilson. This is a very residential area. We're unable to zoom in very closely to the exact residence. This is a SWAT situation, and in these situations, the police ask us to back off a little bit to give them room to move in and out. Their police helicopter is covering the scene as well. So that's all the information we have right now. Again, the fire department has confirmed to NBC multiple people shot, including a Chicago Police Department SWAT officer. The address at 4640 north on Springfield in the north side. We did hear via dispatch that officer was taken to Illinois Masonic Hospital. No conditions on any of the injured yet. From what we can see from Sky 5, and what we can see from the way the officers are moving, this was a SWAT scene where they were being very careful how they moved in and out of the residence. At one point, I heard them say they wanted to use one stairwell. They were urging extreme caution moving in and out of this scene. It was a very tense dispatch for a good half an hour before they called the 10-1 officer in distress and a police officer shot. You can see what appears to be dozens of Chicago police officers here. And again, I'm 1,000 feet above the scene, but officers looking very despondent. They are probably awaiting word from other officers who are on Illinois Masonic Hospital about the condition of that SWAT officer that's been shot. And we also want to give the conditions of how many other people were shot and the extent of their injuries as well, Alex.
Mike, we appreciate all that information, and we know there's still a lot more we don't know than what we do know at this point. Judging how this is a relatively calm scene, although there are lots of police officers still in the street waiting to see what happened, I know there's still a lot we don't know about what led up to this. Do we know anything about the call that might have come in as to either a person in distress, was somebody inside a residence? Do we know anything about that original call or dispatch that might have led to a SWAT team even showing up there in the first place?
This is what I heard, and I heard this on the dispatch from the Chicago Police Department citywide dispatch right from the start. This was domestic related. They had dispatched a domestic related scene where a person was heavily armed inside of a residence. And again, they're urging extreme caution. So when that happens, they call a SWAT. They designate a SWAT. They say there's a SWAT at 4640 north on Springfield. Get the SWAT team in. They move in. A lot of times when we hear this, they're able to stage In this case, the dispatches were a little more intense. The woman from the police department was in control of the dispatches, telling everyone else on the radio, stay off of this radio unless you are dispatching regarding this SWAT scene. And again, they were urging extreme caution. They said only go in one stairwell. So they were very, very worried about this person inside, whatever was going again. Again, this is all dispatch. There's a lot that we were not there. We're above the scene. As you mentioned, there's a lot that we don't know. But that was the initial dispatch. And again, about 45 minutes later, 10-1 call. That's an officer in distress with a police officer shot, and that person transported to Illinois Masonic Hospital.
All right, yeah, highly trained personnel, obviously, Mike, and we know they deal with all kinds of situations that are very difficult. And, of course, we're going to try to get more information about this throughout the afternoon.